Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to this Zooming into Screen Quarter Zoom tutorial hosted by the EOP Pals. My name is Led Skillery, and I'm one of the EOP Pals, and I'm happy to be walking through this tutorial with you today. So starting off, we're going to go through the agenda. We're going to start off with an introduction. I'm going to introduce myself and some information about me. Then we're going to move into scheduling meetings, some tips and tricks for those. Then we're going to go into Zoom etiquette and navigating Zoom lectures, basically some do's and don'ts for navigating Zoom and going into Zoom meetings. Then we go into settings and shortcuts, some nice little tips and tricks in there to help you navigate Zoom. And then we're going to go around Zoom lecture security and some issues around that. I just wanted to add this little pug right here in the right because, you can see us zooming here. And also there's this huge blue blank space and I did not like it just kind of sitting there. So, I feel like the dog kind of just belongs there, honestly. All right, so again, my name is Lance Guillory. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm one of the EOP peer advisor leaders. I am a second year Elks affiliate and I'm a philosophy and critical race and ethnic studies double major. As you know, the Education Opportunity Program, or EOP office, serves to promote the retention of students from low socioeconomic and minoritized backgrounds. We're located at the ARC Center, which is located south of McHenry. Due to the COVID-19 outbreak, we are closed and cannot hold in-person drop-in advising. Instead, we'll be holding virtual drop-ins. The only difference is we will be there to hold our usual in-person academic advising sessions. As you can see right here in this blue box, that's where all of our contact information is, so don't be afraid to reach out to us. Also, regarding the phone number, all calls to the EOP office are actively being forwarded to the EOP Administrative Receptionist team and will be answered during spring quarter to help answer general questions, help students schedule appointments with EOP counselors, and refer students to campus resources as needed. We, the EOP Pals, hold drop-ins for time management, budgeting, academic advising, personal support, and navigating UCSC all together. Normally, our drop-in hours would be from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, but during this quarter and this time of social distancing, our drop-in hours will be not only digitally, but also from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. online. You can also set up a meeting with us via Google Calendar or talk with the administrative receptionist team to set up a drop-in advising meeting with the EOP Pals. Scheduling meetings. Normally, we as students won't be scheduling meetings. However, you might have group assignment or looking to study with classmates and need to set up a meeting. You could also be scheduling meetings for academic advising or maybe have your own pre-advising job and need to set recurring meeting times. It's important to know that with the basic version of Zoom, you can only hold meetings for at most 40 minutes. Once those 40 minutes have passed, the Zoom meeting will end. Normally, the host will restart the meeting if they weren't finished. I believe if you're registered for Zoom under your UCSC email, you should be on a pro account, which means you shouldn't have to be worried about the 40-minute timer on your Zoom meetings. Though if this isn't the case, you should still be on a basic account and your meetings are limited to 40 minutes. You can also schedule recurring meetings via Zoom, which will notify participants via Google Calendar, Outlook, or other services when the meeting is about to start. Be sure to look at the advanced options for improved convenience and accessibility of your meeting. Be careful when screen sharing. Screen sharing takes up everyone's screens to see what's being shared during the meeting and can interrupt lectures. Be cautious when navigating your Zoom meetings. Now, I say this because I understand a lot of people may have issues when paying attention, and so maybe they have something running in the background to distract themselves. Like for me, for example, I like to have music running in the background on YouTube, something lo-fi or something indie to keep me distracted, something in my ears so I can also pay attention to lectures. So please do be careful if you are running something in the background so you don't share your screen and possibly get in trouble and possibly kicked out of the lecture or even getting kicked out of your class. Proper Zoom etiquette. Make sure you're muted when you join so you don't disturb the course of the meeting. If video is mandatory for your meetings, make sure it's working beforehand. Some professors like to see faces rather than staring at black screens for hours. Try to avoid casual conversations in the main chat. While tempting and convenient, it can be distracting to some, and important questions can get lost in the midst of socializing. You can private message someone, but remember to be considerate about their learning objectives. Class participation. Some professors prefer you to have your video on and appreciate any vocal input relevant to the lecture. Ask questions in the chat so that the professor and classmates can answer, and engaging in discussion in the chat regarding lecture material can also help your classmates. I say this because maybe you're in a confusing lecture, maybe something difficult, perhaps it's something related to physics or computer science, and maybe someone happened to miss something in the chat and they pose a question in the chat box. The professor doesn't notice it. So maybe someone would unmute themselves and say, "Hey, professor, there's a question in the chat," or say, "Hey, professor, I have a question. Sorry to interrupt." You know, because that type of communication with your professor actually really helps not only yourself, but also students who are maybe too afraid to ask the questions themselves. So yeah, please do look out for each other in your lectures. And if possible, be that person to speak up and say, "Hey, there's a question here for anyone to answer." Keyboard shortcuts. Here are some of the keyboard shortcuts to save you some time during meetings. One thing I wanted to note is that Alt F4 will close your applications. This applies to everything on the computer. If someone says otherwise, they're just trying to get a laugh out of tricking you. I say this because, I play a lot of PC games. I know a lot of people at UC Santa Cruz play a lot of PC games. And so if you know anything about that, a lot of people will say like, "Hey, how do I do this thing in this video game?" And someone will jokingly say Alt F4, and next thing you know, they fall for it, and suddenly they're disconnected from the game. So please do be careful, because not only will that inconvenience you, but it just does not it just does not help the lecture at all if someone's getting constantly removed because someone else finds it funny to get someone kicked out of a lecture. Some exercises that might help. You can have Zoom send you reminders about upcoming scheduled meetings. This is under the General tab. You can automatically copy your invitation URL when you join in case a meeting shuts down, and you don't have to dig through your emails to find it again. That is also under the General tab. You can press and hold space to unmute yourself in case you need to add your input into a class discussion. That's on the audio section. I really emphasize this last one because I myself have gotten caught out not really muting myself after I'm done talking. But that's because I'm not really the brightest at it when I would go into the bottom left corner and press the button to unmute myself and forget to mute myself once again when I'm done talking. So this is definitely a lot more convenient. So I definitely do recommend it if you don't know about it already. Lastly, I want to talk about Zoom bombing. The FBI describes Zoom bombing as intruders hijacking Zoom lectures. Some professors are taking their own precautions by setting passwords for their lectures and requiring login authentication before joining the Zoom session. There's actually, I believe it was sent out by ITS, a little how-to on securing your class meeting. So we're going to go look at that real quick. All right. So what they want us to do is go to ucsc.zoom.us and sign into our UCSC Zoom account. And we're going and sign in on the top right. Oh, I am under the wrong. Oh, we can do this like this. And then you want to go into your settings. And under the scheduling meeting section, you want to keep scrolling down until you find the setting that says only authenticated users can join meetings. These participants need to authenticate prior to joining the meetings. Hosts can choose one of the authentication methods when scheduling meetings. So we're going to go ahead and turn this on so that no one random can join in unless they're registered under the UCC email, just to prevent any, I guess, Zoom hijacking, because, we don't really want that happening. All right. All right. And then reporting Zoom bombing. That's obviously going to be the next slide, which I just showed. So yeah, public affairs left an email that's labeled condemning online prejudice. I'm pretty sure everyone got this email, so don't be afraid to go look at it. They gave us a little how-to at the bottom about reporting Zoom bombing and how to like deal with it in case your class actually did get hijacked. So first and foremost, talks about the first step is please open a ticket at help@ucsc.edu with the subject line Zoom bombing, and then you add in your course. I know that Anthropology 2 ended up getting Zoom bombed within the first few weeks of the spring quarter. So in case, if you were a part of that class, you could put, oh, Zoom bombing in Anthro 2, and then include information such as your meeting ID, the cruise ID of the host, and the time of the incident, and whether or not screen sharing was used. Students and faculty should refer to reporthate.ucsc.edu for hate bias related incidents and comments during Zoom classes. To file a formal complaint about harassment and or discrimination on the basis of a protected identity, students, staff, and faculty can make a report online using the reporting form on the Equity and Equal Protection homepage. To report an incident of sexual violence or sexual harassment, contact the Title IX office. The Dean of Students Office and the Conduct Community Standards Office are committed to working with our academic partners to make our online learning environment more secure, safe, and conducive to learning. For general inquiries regarding classroom disruption in the conduct process, please email conduct@ucsc.edu. Reports of a classroom disruption not falling into the previous categories can be submitted for review by conduct staff at ugc-advocate.simplicity.com/public report, and then the rest of the information that I'm not gonna read off everything. And yes, I want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions or concerns, don't be afraid to email us at eop.pals@ucsc.edu. If you can, please do follow us on social media, EOP UCSC. That is on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We actually just happened to make a YouTube channel. It should be under the name EOP Pals, UCC EOP Pals, I believe. Let's see. Ooh, hold on. I can't make a new tab because Zoom's kind of in the way. Wait, so let me do it from here. Yep, under the name UCSC EOP Pals. We haven't uploaded anything yet, but I'm pretty sure this video is going to be going on to that. So please do check us out on all our social media platforms. Again, my name is Lance Guillory, and I'm happy to have your time today, and I thank you so much for tuning in.